Alright, well I don't know whether this is something that you could always find a use for, but if you're going to go off-grid, you may want to take a bit of your land and try and make some kind of sheltering. So making something that you can put either natural or man-made fibers or anything from nature or a scrapyard on top of that will be strong enough to be able to take its weight, so you can use that as a shelter. It would be quite useful. Also, the creation of netting as a means of keeping anything from wild animals to wild birds away from things that you're growing can also be quite useful. Now you can either go out and buy stuff, or if you just got some string lying around, you might as well just make some yourself. This one's a very simple net which I've created for myself using very basic techniques, and it doesn't take all that much in the way of intelligence or imagination to work out basically how I've done this. I've taken one long piece. You've got a series of lark's head knots where with two bits coming down, and basically just start tying them between and carry on going as you go. Alright, and from that it doesn't take all that much time, and therefore a very simple, very basic form of square net can be created. Now with this one I was just looping a piece of string over the top, put my lark's head knot there, and then hanging them down. But you can do it another way, and you can take a piece of string going along, or a piece of twine, whatever you've got, then go up and do your lark's head, then make a downward loop, and then up another lark's head, another downward loop, up another lark's head, and carry on. So you've got one long piece with lots of U shapes underneath, and you can then fasten onto the U shapes whatever you need. Now for that method you'll also need to have a vertical coming down here and a vertical coming down on this side, because otherwise you'll end up with your net coming down to a point, and if that happens basically it won't necessarily be what you're after. And of course you just want for some reason a triangular net. Now you can create two triangular nets and try and find a way of putting them together to create something similar to a hammock, but would it necessarily be strong enough if there's going to be some weak points in it where you're joining the two in the middle? That's a question you've got to ask yourself. But this is for a square design, not necessarily something of a more conical or circular nature, like a traditional draw net or purse net kind of thing. But that's one particular style I just thought I'd show you today, and it doesn't take all that much in the way of work to be able to do it. Obviously these are quite large holes, and you would need slightly more specialist equipment or needles and so on and so forth to create something with smaller mesh, and which might take up a bit more of your time to make. But this is just like me prattling about with a bit of string to show you the netting of a very basic nature can be created. And then it's up to your imagination, alright, up to your creativity as to how you use the net. You can use it with fence posts to try and create a demarcation of this bit of land is there for this purpose rather than another purpose. You can use it indoors. I'm actually thinking of using this as an insulation tool inside my flat, funnily enough. Not this very one net, that was just a trial run. But I think it would be quite a cheap and an easy method for me to get myself a couple more balls of string. Alright, create a good sized net, and then string that up at the top of my stairwell and cover that with either blankets or anything else which I can then sew onto the fabric of the net, and use the net itself as a means of supporting the whole thing without tearing the fabric of the blankets themselves, and thus to create a lid basically on my downstairs area, so I can just heat my downstairs area in the winter and then remove the netting and blankets assembly on top to allow the warm air to then go upstairs. So basically creating a forced ceiling effect really. And with string, rather than just taking regular blankets and cutting holes in them, would actually make a much stronger structure for me to hang this on, especially if I want it to last a long period of time rather than just to be a short term measure. So with the help of string and a pair of scissors, basically I'll have a little bit more insulation as the winter comes down. Sorry, my phone's ringing. Speak to you soon.